As we discussed previously, transition assessment is required by IDEA 2004 to determine post-secondary goals, and Indicator 13 requires annual transition goals based on the results of age-appropriate transition assessment. We will discuss transition assessment for 3 different areas: education training, employment, and independent living. Remember, education training and employment are required. Independent living is as needed, but we will discuss it as if it is required. There are thousands and thousands of transition assessments available, and new assessments are being developed every day. This is in no way an exhaustive list of transition assessments. When choosing an assessment, please keep in mind the specific student you are assessing, for whom the assessment was developed, the type of information you want to collect, and how you can use the results to facilitate the student's movement from school to post-school life. Some of the assessments we will discuss are formal, norm-based assessments with valid and reliable results. Others are informal and should be used with caution. It's not that informal interview type of assessments are bad, just be aware that checklists with no validity or reliability could cause you to miss vital skills your students need to succeed. As a former high school teacher, I also realize there is very little money in the budget for transition assessments. So I'm not going to waste our time talking about super cool transition assessments that cost thousands of dollars when there are assessments available that are equally effective and free or low cost. After each area of transition assessment is discussed, you will choose an assessment to try on your own and create an annual transition goal based on the results. Annual transition goals need to include a condition, behavior, and criterion. Condition involves the application of skills or knowledge and describes the materials and environment necessary for the goal to be completed, such as after receiving instruction. The behavior identifies the performance being measured. The student will correctly calculate the total cost of a vehicle, including interest. And the criterion states how much, how often, or to what standards the behavior must occur. Examples include with 100% accuracy or 4 out of 5 times. So the complete compliant goal using condition, behavior, criterion would be, after receiving instruction, the student will correctly calculate the total cost of a vehicle, including interest, 4 out of 5 times. Warning, this is a shockingly depressing assignment when you use your own car loan as an example. Here's the formula for annual transition goals. Using this formula, you will ensure your annual transition goals are compliant. Many of the transition assessments we will discuss cover more than one transition planning area. I have arranged them in categories, however, please look at the different areas each assessment covers to determine where in the transition plan you might use the results. Once you complete the Transition Assessments unit, you may begin the Transition Assessment Battery assignment. Now let's take a look at Education Training Assessments. The first assessment is the Landmark College Guide to Assessing College Readiness. We all have those students who proclaim they want to go to college, but you aren't quite sure if they really know what it takes. This assessment is free and assesses 5 domains: academic skills, self-understanding, self-advocacy, executive functioning, and motivation and confidence. This assessment was developed for students with LD or ADHD. Here's a screenshot of the assessment. Some of the items include, can you read up to 200 pages in a week? And do you schedule your own appointments with doctors, advisors, and counselors? My husband also has a hard time with that one, so I might take this one home. These are simple yes or no questions, and any items not marked with yes can be converted into annual transition goals, such as, for the next 12 months, Sean will schedule all needed dental, medical, and optometry appointments with 100% accuracy. And yes, I just created an annual transition goal for my husband. Aren't these great? In all seriousness, many of our college students are missing out on opportunities for support from professors, advisors, and the Disability Service Office because they are too intimidated to make an appointment. If we start making students make their own appointments in high school, they might be more likely to make them in the future, resulting in more opportunities and a less frustrated spouse. The TAG is an easy-to-use transition assessment based upon research-identified behaviors and experiences associated with post-school employment and further education, so it can be used in either section. The assessment developers reviewed all research pinpointing experiences and behaviors known to impact whether a student enrolls in post-secondary education or participates in employment, and created constructs and items from these behaviors and experiences. These developers were tired of assessments that did not produce usable results educators can easily include into an IEP. This assessment's results profile includes a present level section, strengths and needs, and sample annual transition goals based on results that can be modified or included in the IEP as is. The TAG has more validity evidence supporting its use than most transition assessments and costs $3 per use. College instructors and professionals conducting trainings to other instructors can request to use a demo version of the TAG for free. The TAG assesses the following constructs: strengths and limitations, disability awareness, student involvement in the IEP, persistence, goal setting and attainment, interacting with others, employment, and support community. The TAG has 3 versions: professional, student, and family. The professional version is written at the 10th grade level, and the family version is written at a 6th grade level, and the student version is written at a 4th grade level. This does not mean all parents read on a 6th grade level. It only means the assessment is accessible to many people. There are also audio and ASL video capabilities. The audio and ASL videos are provided for each item, so students, parents, and professionals have the option of only listening to the items they have trouble understanding. There is also a Spanish version available if you email tag@ou.edu. It is an online assessment. However, the assessment can be printed, sent home, then the professional can enter the responses into the system to obtain the results profile. The profile is saved to the professional account and can be accessed at any time. Some professionals take all students into the computer lab at once and have them complete the assessment. Then, pull up the assessment results when it's time for the IEP. The TAG graphic profile displays responses from each participant in different colors. You can easily see where the responses may differ and have conversations about these differences. The sample annual transition goals are displayed based on the results from each participant. This allows the student and family members to actively participate in transition planning by deciding as a team which annual transition goals to include in the IEP. The Employability Life Skill Assessment is free and can be used across multiple transition areas. Employers and entry-level employees identified the items on this assessment as essential for obtaining and keeping employment. The sections that apply to education training include self-help skills, work habits, task-related, work quality, and attitude. This is a criterion reference checklist that may be used annually beginning at age 14 and assesses 24 skills through the age of 21. Skills are rated on a 3-point scale: 3 usually, 2 sometimes, 1 seldom, and 0 never. For example, the quality of work section of this assessment looks at whether a student completes work on time, independently, with an acceptable speed, and attempts new tasks without demonstrating frustration. You would simply rate each of the items from 3 to 0 in the column corresponding with the student's age. This assessment could be repeated annually on the same form to see student progress over time. The Transition Planning Inventory 2, or TPI-2, as it is commonly called, is the most expensive assessment we will discuss. But it has many parts, both formal and informal, and a lot of educators use it. The complete set costs about $269 and is sold through ProEd. The Informal Assessments booklet contains several checklists, and many of these are perfect for assessing college and career training readiness. For example, the Informal Supports for College and Training Programs identifies what a student does and does not know about college and training programs, including instructor office hours, services provided by the institutions, and who to ask for support. This booklet has worksheets to help students break down the steps to gain entry into a college or training program, including the need for ACT or SAT, application process and fees, and the need to write a personal essay in addition to the application. College View is a free resource that isn't exactly an assessment, but can be very helpful when determining an educational path. This website allows you to search for the college that best suits your needs. You can filter by location, majors, and your scores on the ACT and SAT, and much more. Once your results are sorted, College View allows you to review costs of tuition, the college website, access to apply online, or request more information. For some, continuing the legacy of a family member's Greek life status may be important. You can search for colleges that offer specific Greek organizations, or search for colleges that offer your favorite sport. An unsung hero of successful individuals is the concept of self-determination. We all know that student who will try really hard on one test, and when that one try does not result in a successful outcome, the student is ready to give up and sees failing as the only option. This student lacks self-determination to achieve goals, and this will affect the student throughout life if these skills are not explicitly taught. Research shows self-determination skills are linked to improved post-secondary outcomes and improved academic performance. There is no one definition of self-determination, yet this concept includes self-awareness. Do you understand your strengths and limitations? Self-advocacy. Are you willing to speak up for yourself? Self-efficacy. Do you believe you can accomplish a goal? Decision-making. Can you make decisions for yourself? Self-management strategies to attain a goal. Do you know how to set short-term and long-term goals? And adjustment. Can you adjust your plan if you are not accomplishing the short-term goals? The AIR Self-Determination Assessment is a free and popular self-determination assessment with parent, teacher, and student versions available. AIR determines opportunities at school and home to use self-determination skills and the student's knowledge, ability, and perception of self-determination. You will know this by the first item on the student version ending in a preposition. People at school listen to me when I talk about what I want, what I need, or what I'm good at. We all know that should read what I do well, but no one asked me. This assessment is currently a paper-pencil assessment, and the test administrator will add items in groups of 2 and mark the corresponding number on the graph to determine results. For example, the responses for items 1 and 2 equal 6, 3 and 4 equal 5, and 5 and 6 equal 4. Knowledge, ability, and perception are added to reach the capacity score. Opportunity at school is added to the opportunity at home to form the opportunity score. Lastly, capacity is added to opportunity to reach the score for level of self-determination. This assessment can be given to an entire class at once and takes less than 5 minutes to score after you complete the first one. The ARC Self-Determination Assessment is free and only contains a student version. To score this assessment, you must have the manual, and each item is scored differently. This takes about 30 minutes. As a former educator, I don't know where I would find an extra 30 minutes to score each assessment, but this assessment is available and free. Please be culturally aware when choosing assessments. Culture is a way of life. I personally score low on this assessment because of the way the items are written. Item 42 reads, I usually do what my friends want, or I tell my friends if they are doing something I don't want to do. Both is not an option. Always review test items before giving the assessment to your students. Is this something you could easily explain when they have questions? Many other transition assessments contain self-determination related items, such as the Landmark College Guide to Assessing College Readiness, TAG, and the TPI-2. Now that we have discussed a few of the available assessments to determine annual transition goals for education training, choose one of the assessments and complete the assessment as you would with one of your students or a person you know. This is only for practice. You do not need the actual person to complete the assessment. Once you are finished, use the annual transition goal formula to create an annual transition goal based on the area of need for the student. For example, If the student completed the Landmark College Guide to Assessing College Readiness and indicated she could not define or describe her diagnosis, the annual transition goal could be: given access to the internet and her confidential file, Emily will research her disability, write an essay describing what her disability is, how it affects her, and the accommodations she needs to be successful with 90% accuracy for grammar and parenthetical citations. Many times, educators view transition skills as something extra they have to teach, but it doesn't have to be that way. The example transition goal can easily fit into state learning standards. All students are required to write essays and research papers. Why not make the assignments include information that can impact their futures? Not that the ability to spatially describe your bedroom isn't a great skill to have, but please consider incorporating transition skills into required academic standards.